Hi, I'm Sharon Knight, President and CEO at Hope Communities, and I'm just checking in on you. Hope Communities has been in our community for over 40 years, providing housing, educational programs, and support services. And a large part of what we've done is to build that sense of community. We are advancing on this platform every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 3 as a way to continue building that community and to check in on people who we know might feel isolated, might want some information, might want some inspiration. So thank you for joining me today. We like to use this format because it gives people a chance to actually comment and sign in. If you look at the bottom of your screen, if you're looking at this live, there is an area that is for chat. So you can sign in if you like to, and then we'll be able to answer any questions that you have along the way, either now during this broadcast or later. So, and you can always send a question to me or to us at Hope Communities at info@hopecommunities.org. And there's lots of information also on our website, which is hopecommunities.org. So we'd like to start the show by giving you an update on some of the most recent things that have been happening around the virus. And so one of the things I'd like to do is go over some of the governor's new plan. I'm not sure if you got to see him live the other day, but he shared some really good information. The stay-at-home order for non-essential businesses is going to be shifting to a safe-at-home order. And the goal of that is to phase out of our closures and to continue our social distancing and all of the precautions we've been using, but start that pathway towards normalcy. We do not want to rush this. We do want to be careful along the way. We only have so many ICU beds. We only have so much equipment. And of course, we don't want people to experience any of this virus at all. But we do want to start getting back to regular business and people being more active in the community. So we will do that step by step. The governor had the stay-at-home order until April 27th. And so after that point, there's going to be a period of time where other businesses start to move back into active state. So on May 4th, that's when the safe-at-home order would go into effect. Now, schools will still be closed, so that'll be problematic for a lot of parents. Bars and restaurants won't open right away. They will still continue to have some of their takeout orders right now. Part of that is because we don't still want big groups who are there and getting together. Hair salons, dog groomers, parlors, massage parlors, things like that will start to open, but they're going to have limited capacity. And I checked out with my hair salon to see what does that mean. And what they told me is that they won't have people in a reception area. People have to stay outside and then get a text to come into the salon at all. They will space out appointments. They will space out in a very broad way all of their stylists. And of course, they will wear masks and gloves and expect that the clients also are wearing masks. So they're going to take a lot of precautions. They're going to see how it goes. Hospitals are going to be able to start to have elective surgeries. You know, they've been keeping people with elective surgeries out at this point, but that's going to start to slowly come in again with good precautions and social distancing. Businesses that can still telecommute fairly easily, you know, they can do that moving forward, but they're saying maybe we can get back to about 50% on May 4th of capacity in the workforce. Still, like every other bullet point that I'm mentioning, with social distancing and masks. Large businesses and factories are going to be encouraged to do temperature checks when people come in. And I've heard that some other smaller businesses are considering that too. On the radio yesterday, someone from a restaurant said that they thought that when they got back into business, they would be trying to take those precautions, taking temperatures or checking for signs of illness before people came into their establishment. So I think that's going to be a new normal for quite a while. In terms of realtors, there won't be any open houses, again, trying to avoid those group meetings, but there will be private showings. So you can see we're just eking our way back into this, being really methodical and also safe along the way. And I think what's going to happen is that we're going to try to figure out what are the ramifications of this slow return to normal, and then if we have to step things up again in terms of safety procedures, we will, but if we can continue to loosen the reins, we will as well. So we have to always remember that people who are vulnerable, older adults, people who have different types of illnesses or live with people who are, or around people who are, need to still really maintain that social distancing. Everybody should be wearing a cloth or a medical mask when in public. We've had a lot of people who have not been doing that to date, and it really is important that people start wearing those masks. And then the state is going to be able to increase testing. I read today that National Jewish will be another location for testing. And I know that the governor is trying to get a lot more tests into the state so that we can identify people who actually have the illness and help to isolate them so they can get better. And also to free up people, to let people know if they've already had it or if they don't have it so that they might get back to work. Now, at Hope, we have been practicing social distancing, as most of you know, but we also have been having one-on-one in-person meetings by appointment through this period. There are some people who just really need that kind of support from us, and we have had some personal engagement for food distribution and things like that. But it all is with gloves and masks and taking the greatest precautions so that we can keep our residents and our clients and our staff safe. So we'll continue to do that. We'll be rolling out some lessened approaches to our work in the coming days. But right now, that's what we know we are. And if you really need help, you can reach out to us on our website. All of our navigators and all of our staff are listed, and they have contact names, emails, telephone numbers, and a little bit about the programs if you search through the website. We also have a coronavirus tab that has lots and lots of great information. So look there first, but then if you really do actually need an in-person site visit, reach out to us and let us figure out how we can make that happen. So our topic today is going to focus mostly around finances. And finances are always stressful. And there's a lot of other things that are stressful right now, but certainly finances during the pandemic is a chief concern. And so we're going to go over some of the things that you might consider during this pandemic period that relate to finances. And because it's so stressful, I'm going to suggest that we do an exercise that we did a couple of sessions ago, which is called the 10-second vacation. And that simply is just stopping, closing your eyes, if that's okay for you, breathing in for 4 seconds and breathing out for 6 seconds. So just take a second for that. Just breathe in and breathe out. Trying to let some of that stress go. And maybe do that one more time. Breathe in and breathe out. And you might even roll your shoulders a little bit while you're listening to me. Just try to relax while you're listening to some of this. Because I know that it is stressful. Many people have lost their jobs or their income has been reduced dramatically because of this virus, with no control of your own. It just has been reduced. And so you're feeling the sting of lost income. And there's also uncertainty because we don't know how long this is going to last. So even if we are starting to roll out some more work hours for non-essential businesses, we don't really know how long the ramifications of this virus will follow us. We know that the whole economy is suffering. And so, this could be something that we each have to consider for the long haul. So the conversation today is not about long-term. It's not about retirement. It's not about trying to get rich. It's about trying to get through this and still keep in pretty steady shape. So the one thing we'll say is that, let me start by saying I am not a financial expert, but I have done a lot of research and looked at information that a lot of experts have posted. So please listen to what I have to say. It's coming from experts, but certainly if you have questions, reach out to another expert that you may know of just to make sure that this is the right track for you. First of all, I would ask that people try to stay on top of any of your bills if you can. I know it's going to be challenging, but if you've experienced loss of income, there might be some tendency to want to defer payments, and we certainly have a lot of groups that are offering deferred payments now. Hope Communities, for instance. If you are affected by the virus and you cannot pay your rent, we will allow you to defer that rent. The utility companies will allow you to defer the payment, so they won't shut off your utilities at this point if you have been affected by the virus. But that doesn't mean that those bills go away. And so if there's any way that you can pay them, that would be to your benefit. And if you know that you cannot, whether it's Hope or any other vendor or contractor, you should reach out to them, let them know your circumstance. You'll want to tell them about your employment and the money that you're bringing in, how much you think you can afford to pay, the other types of payments you have, and see if there are any emergency guidelines that they have set up that can help you to maybe make payment plans if it's needed, or to defer if that is the absolutely only thing that you can do. You know that there might be some special leeway right now. So talk to the people that you owe money to and just ask them if they have anything special going on, because there are federal and state monies that are coming in to support some of those things. So if you can find a special and you are not deferring payment, but you get some kind of an emergency grant for payment, that would be even better. Now, talking about emergency monies, there are some emergency rent and utility monies out there. TRUA, the Temporary Rent and Utility Assistance Program, is one of the ones that is out there, and that's available to you. TRUA got much more money during this COVID-19 period from the federal government to help to support things like loss of total income for many months. TRUA will pay up to 6 months of rent for you if you have experienced these hardships. They will pay 80% of your rent, but you still need to find 20%. You have to have the 20% before you are eligible for the 80%. And so you're going to want to talk with TRUA, but you'll want to find some other sources to help complement their monies and bring that 20% up. Now, you might have that yourself in savings, but if you don't, reach out to staff at Hope to ask them some other options for you. We do have some internal emergency rent monies that can help to augment TRUA funds, and we do know other partners in the community that have some. So please check with us, because it's a great idea for you to be able to access those emergency funds. And those are funds that you would not have to pay back. So the two agencies that we most work with Hope residents are the Del Norte Neighborhood Development Corp. and also the Northeast Denver Housing Corp. So the city, through the Denver's Affordable Housing Fund, supports those agencies, and those agencies are administering the funds. So what you need to do if you're going to go after those funds is to call 311, and then you press 6, and somebody from the city will ask you some information about your circumstances. And then at that point, you will most likely have to leave a message with your name, your phone number, your property address, and the information that they've asked you for. And then one of those agencies will get back to you to follow through with the process. Now, the TRUA rental and utility assistance funds are eligible for people who make 80% of the area median income for Denver or less. So for here, one person would make 52,000 or less, 2 people 59,000 or less, 3 people about 67,000 or less, and 4 people about 74,000 or less. So that's the number of people in your household. So if you make less than those amounts, then you would be income eligible, and you'd have to check with them about the other requirements. But I think it's something that everybody might want to consider if they have lost their income as a result of this virus. Now, a lot of people are expecting stimulus money and also tax refunds, and many of us decide well in advance that we're going to do something really fun with that money. And I think everybody knows it's probably a good time to buckle down and focus that on essential bills rather than some special expenditures. But that's what I would recommend. And also, if you were going to go after the extra stimulus money for having children in the household, the deadline for that has just passed. It was due, the request for that, which would have resulted in $500 per child extra, was noon today. So hopefully you got that in, because we don't want to miss any opportunities to get emergency funds. Now, if you lost your job and you still want to be able to work at that place or another place later, and you lost your job because of the COVID virus, you can apply for unemployment. Now, I don't know if you've ever done that before. It's a step-by-step process that you can do by going online. There's a smart file, coloradoworkforce.com. You can do a Google for that, or you can talk with our navigators at Hope to help you to figure out how to file for that. The COVID virus pandemic has allowed an additional $600 per week for people who are filing for unemployment who have been affected by the virus. So it's really important that if you are eligible for that you just jump on that, because that would really help you through this really critical and tense period right now. There are many people who are applying, and just be warned that it'll take some time to get through and to get answers, but keep trying and hopefully you will be able to get that. Now, if you want to work right now and not collect unemployment, you can also start looking for another job. We have navigators helping a lot of people right now looking for another job, and sometimes they're taking this opportunity to shift fields, to change careers. Lots of things out there, or it just might be something that you're doing temporarily because you want more income. But this could be a time to develop a new pathway for you. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of training programs and university programs right now that are offering free classes. So if you have wanted to try something out, this could be a really great time to do it. If you have a little bit more free time at home, you could really be starting on a brand new career. Now, one of the other benefits that you might want to consider at this time, again, even if you may have never used it before, is food assistance. We did a previous show on how to apply for SNAP benefits, which is Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. So if you do not have enough money for food, you could apply for that. You also, if you have lost your income and you have children, you could apply for TANF, which is temporary assistance for needy families. This used to be called welfare in the past. There is no shame in applying for these things. I know some people are very reticent to ask for help in this way, kind of a social benefit. But again, this virus happened. You did nothing to cause this, and your jobs may have been closed and you aren't getting work, and that has nothing to do with your capacity or intent. And so I really think it's important to take advantage of the benefits that you are eligible for right now. It'll help you in your current situation, and it will certainly help you in your future if you don't have to go into debt. Now, there are also food banks. SNAP sometimes might take a little while to get, even if you are eligible, but the food banks are available fairly readily right now. We've had food distribution at our properties. The schools are giving bag lunches for kids from at all of our properties, and we are having deliveries from an agency on Tuesdays and Fridays. At Hidden Brook, they're there at 11:15, and at the Gardens in Northeast Park Hill, they're there at 12:30. On Wednesday, we also have food at 12:30 for kids from the Aurora School District. And Wednesday nights at Hidden Brook in the Northeast Colfax area, we have box distribution of food to families at that residence and also in the general area. So those distributions they're by request. So you need to let us know if you need some food assistance, and then we'll put you on the list, and every Wednesday we will be delivering boxes. Some right to your doorstep, actually, because we don't want people to congregate and to come to get food. We will actually bring them right to your doorstep, knock on the door, and then walk away so that you can get them at your own safe distance. We will supply boxes to residents at our other properties as well after Wednesday night. So again, you need to let us know. You can send something to one of the navigators, and again, their emails and phone numbers are online at hopecommunities.org, or send us a request at info@hopecommunities.org, and we will make sure that you get some food. It's been a really challenging time for families, and so we know that that is really important. And talking about food, we have heard a lot about kind of a request for people to eat out, to get takeout from restaurants. And while I think it's a wonderful idea to support our restaurants, I also know that if you don't have enough money to pay your bills right now, that probably it would be better to focus on eating in your house. And it could be a really fun time to cook with a family. There's so many great things that you could start to cook. We talked a little bit about recipes in our last show, and we can save some or share some with you if you need some recipes for things to cook that actually might include the food that we're delivering to you. We'd be happy to help you out with that. So some other places that you can check for savings. Your cell phone and insurance providers, check and see if they have any specials, if you can get a better monthly deal. Sometimes we get in with a service, and over the course of time, the fees for those services go up, and we don't necessarily take the time to do some critical comparison shopping. Maybe try that. So, and if you happen to have a student loan, everyone who has one is in forbearance until September. And so you don't have to pay the funds for that student loan. You can use that money that you would have used for that payment for other essential purchases at this time, and there won't be any penalties for that. So that's something that comes all the way down from the federal government. Just no penalties for not being able to pay student loans right now. I really highly recommend that if you feel like you're in a pinch, that you talk with navigators or talk with somebody else who can help you figure out how to take care of these bills. I highly discourage the use of payday or same day loan companies. I know sometimes they make it seem so easy that you could get money right now and pay it back later, but the interest is incredibly high. The national average for interest for paying back loans from one of the payday loan places is about 400%. So you don't want to get into that. And once you get into that cycle, it's difficult to get out, and it really does wreck your credit score. So we definitely don't want that to happen to you. There's a wealth of information online. There's a wealth of information even on just our website at hopecommunities.org. And we not only do we have our regular navigators, but we have a couple of volunteer navigators who are bolstering our staff so that we can help you. And we help not only people who live with us, I've said this many times, but people in the broader community. So please let us know if you need something from us. Now, one of the things that we do always on these shows, because we know people are staying at home and you maybe have feeling isolated but have more time, is that we preview a book. And the book that's going to be previewed today, and it will be up on our Facebook Live or our Facebook post really soon, probably within an hour after this initial conversation that I'm having with you. The book is called Snow Falling on Cedars, and it's written by David Guterson. And it is a story that takes place on San Pedro Island in the Puget Sound area, which is just north of the state of Washington. Gorgeous place. It's a really interesting and intriguing story about someone who is accused of murder. But the murder is only just the tip of the iceberg in terms of the story. There's so many levels of complication and intrigue and relationship and emotion throughout this whole book that you're going to be compelled to read it once you open the first couple of pages. Very exciting. The preview will be up really soon, and I hope you get a chance to read it. Again, thank you for joining us. We will be back on Friday at 3 o'clock. And please send any of those comments, questions, suggestions in. And if you want to do your own book review, let us know that too. Send that request to info@hopecommunities.org. Thanks for joining us. Have a really great day.